you know, in the playoffs last year, people were taking shots at you. Like people beat up on you. You would agree on that, right? Like people, because you're the best defenseman, people try to try to push you around.
Yeah, it's just part of the game.
Okay. So that being said, the the defense got bigger. The team got bigger this year. Do you think that's with an eye on the playoffs, to so that there people can't lean on you or and lean on people, that it's more evenly spread out?
Yeah, I think we got some guys now, and especially bringing in Zadorov, where you have some sort of presence, right? Like he's mean, and every single person out there on the other team needs to know when he's out there. He's one of those guys. He's a presence, who's going to take up space in your head. So that certainly helps when you have those guys, especially in playoff time when the minutes get harder, the play gets harder, the stakes are higher. Like I think that those guys can certainly tilt games in your favor.
When you're opposing a guy like Zadorov and you see him on the other side, I would imagine you kind of get a mental picture of what he must be like, and then he comes and plays with you. How is the thought process kind of equaled reality now that he's here?
No, it's been great. I didn't get too many viewings of him when you're out in Vancouver, out on the West Coast. It's hard to keep up with everybody, but I remember seeing him shine there in the playoffs and along throughout the season, where you're seeing him whether it's big hits or offense or defense or anything, and I knew that he was a guy that I thought would fit in great here. And you go out and get him, and I can't wait to see what he can do, whether I'm playing with him or not. Either way, I think he's going to help us big time.
Has there been a guy that's come in that you've had to play with, that you had a on ice bad relationship with before, that you may not even really known him, but you had your scraps and your struggles with on the ice?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm trying to think. The turnover in sports, and not just hockey, is crazy. Guys moving on and bringing guys in and out. So
because Marchand, a while now. Because every time someone comes in, they've got, because Marchand,
someone's
he's
got
a veteran.
Yeah,
someone's had beef with Marchand,
yeah.
so that's got to. So, do you know how he handles that when someone comes in? Like, is there a process hockey players go to? Or is it just an understanding?
I think and his example would be even better than mine. But so when we got Mojo, Marcus Johansson, the year that we went in 2019, we went to the finals. That was if not that year, it was the year before, where Marshy got like a 5-game suspension, and he actually elbowed Marcus in the head. Mojo had a back concussion after that, and certainly if there's beef, that's as big as it's gonna get.
Sure,
I'd say, and then you bring a guy like that in, and I'm sure you guys know Marshy. He's the epitome of the guy who you want on your team that you don't like to play against.
Right.
He's got a heart as big as anybody I know, and once you're in this room, it's a lot of love, and we all take care of each other. So it very quickly, you bring him in, and there's no more of that ill will. Like we're all pulling in the same direction, and even a step further than that, you're becoming friendly. You have a genuine care for these people now.
Florida has more than their fair share of guys just like that, like Marchand. Marchand got hit. He was the recipient of a cheap shot. There was stuff in front of the net that the referees let go that Boston fans didn't think should have happened. As someone who is a veteran of playoff hockey, how long did it seem like that series was a bit different than a lot of other playoff series? How long did it take you to let go of that? And I know you play Florida first game out of the blocks here next week.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you spend a lot of time, with it, certainly when you care as much as we do, and as much as I know I do personally, it's tough to just let those things go. You work all year, and really the regular season is nothing but a big tune-up, essentially. And as I've gotten older, and we've been fortunate enough to have great teams that play in the playoffs every year, like you're really working towards that, and that's all that matters, is getting to the playoffs and trying to win. So it's tough. It's never easy when your season ends. It's hard. It definitely takes a while, but it does turn where you're able to kind of let it go, and you're reshifting your focus for this upcoming season. So, that happened probably middle of the summer, but you keep things with you, things that keep you motivated, and things that give you drive, and that's just a little bit of how I do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So now that you're a veteran, I mean, you're not old, but you're a veteran and you've been in the league. Is there do you find yourself now that you have to pace yourself in the regular season, like not take nights off, but like because you know what's required now in the playoffs and how much different the game is in the playoffs and how teams that necessarily didn't win the most in the regular season excel in the playoffs? Is there a way that you handle things now differently than when you first came into the league?
Yeah, I'd say so. And I think that's the evolution of most players is, certainly not showing up and not caring. That's the furthest thing from it.
Right.
I think I pride myself. My biggest thing is on consistency, and setting a bar extremely high. And some nights you might not have it. You might not have your legs. You might not, but you have to show up and do the job all the same. And I think maybe efficiency might be the best way to explain that. Maybe you're not covering as much ice, but you're just as efficient with your movements and defending and making plays. I think that's sort of maybe the evolution of a lot of guys when you cross over. You've been around a while.
Okay. All the big head honchos talked today. Sweeney, Neely, your coach, who's Jim Montgomery, whose name I keep forgetting. He sat down, and I forgot his name when he sat down. And I'm a fan of the team. All right, so they were all sitting there, and they brought up Swayman. Now, I know you're very heavily involved in those negotiations with Swayman. I know that you're
That's why you're sitting here.
That you're in the
make
room.
Sure we brought you in.
Yeah.
But he was involved in stuff in the off season, and he was like at captain's practices and stuff. Do you are you talking to him? Are you still? Is he someone that you're friends with on the team? Is he someone that you're still in contact with, like on a regular basis?
Yeah, of course. I called him the other day, and I've had good contact with him. And he spent a lot of time in Boston this summer, which is nice. And I'm here year round as well. So, care for him a ton. I think what we're seeing unfold is just the business side of hockey, and this is sort of at a position where, you have trust in both sides that something is going to get done.
Neely came out hot today. Was telling like the numbers he was giving him. He came out hot. Whose side are you on? Because you're a player, so you need guys to get paid. But he's on your team, and then here you go. You're a defenseman. You make him look better. He makes you look better. Yeah, it's tough.
Like I said, and it's not just a front of sorts. You have trust in parties that something is going to get done, and that's all you have in these situations. And I have complete trust.
So now it looks like Joonas Korpisalo is your starting goaltender. Keeping in mind that goalies are a little bit different than the rest of the team. They are kind of in their own headspace. You've been able to kind of talk to him and find out what type of guy he is?
I've talked to him a little bit. I really enjoyed being able to spend some time with him. And as the year progresses, camp is tough. You're in two different groups. Sometimes you see him. Sometimes you're at the rink all day. You don't cross paths with half the guys. So, as we kick off here, and the season progresses, these opportunities to get closer with everybody, with all the new guys, and bring them in and truly, become friends with them.
If you, and this will be my final question, because now I'm thinking about it. So say like you went and signed your deal and like that they had your rights. This isn't even Swayman. Forget about Swayman. This is you. And so they have your rights, and they're like, all right, dude, we're gonna trade your rights to someone. The team you'd most want to go to, the team that you at least want to go to, go.
Ooh.
Because I've asked this question before and people have answered it. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. This is tough. I feel like this is one where I don't know. Someone will find a way to spin it.
Yeah, and then I'll get famous from it.
Islanders, right? Got to be.
No,
Islanders.
You'd want to go to the Islanders. Right?
Islanders.
No.
The Rangers.
I'll predate, and I'll say that growing up, because I'm from Long Island.
Right.
But my family, we were Rangers fans. The Rangers used to practice in Long Beach in the 70s.
Okay.
When my dad was growing up there. So I grew up a Rangers fan because you just sort of inherit what your parents are fans of. So it was the Rangers, and that was always like you're growing up in the driveway, right? You're the Rangers. Mm-hmm. So that was my thing, and then.
But it'd be cool to play in New York.
Yeah, of course. I guess what I'll say without answering your question is my sister works for the Rangers, which is very unique. She's one of the strength and conditioning coaches for the Rangers.
Oh, that's cool.
So of us being kids and, like I said, playing in the driveway, and I'd always be pulling her into it, putting a stick in her hands, and she was always game. To see her, be a part of the organization that we grew up as kids being fans of has been really cool. Seeing her live her dream, yeah.
Okay, and you're not Canadian, so I'm
not Canadian.
So I take it Winnipeg would be the place you didn't want to play.
I would say, so I actually have been asked this, or even just in conversations. I've been really fortunate. I've grown up in the Northeast virtually my whole life. I spent 2 years in Ann Arbor in high school. So all I know is the Northeast. I know 4 seasons. I love the fall. I love the spring. I know I love this weather. This is where this is home. So I'll just say that I'm very comfortable here. I think the biggest change up would be like getting shipped out west or something. I've been on Eastern time zone my whole life.
Right.
Yeah, you Winnipeg or Edmonton, I'd have to imagine.
I just wouldn't even. I'd say out west.
Alberta.
Out west would be the biggest probably change in lifestyle, just because you'd have to deal with the time zone and everything like that. But
all right, so
yeah, I've been here.
So when DeBrusk was here, he tried to, Edmonton's fantastic. You want to go to Edmonton?
Well, he's from Vancouver. Or sorry, he's from Edmonton.
But now he's in Vancouver.
Yeah. So I think something that like you don't see because I'm from here.
Yeah.
Is that JD, his whole family's out there, and it's tough when you're on these different time zones and stuff. And that's something that I never internalized because I'm like, my parents are 3 hours down the road, and it's tough. You have a little bit of gain some perspective when you're talking to him or any of these guys that are from places really far away. Like, I'm very lucky to be here, and I know that, and I don't take a day for granted of being a Bruin. But there are a lot of people, and that's all over the league, where it's out of your control. You get drafted, your rights, you end up in Winnipeg or Edmonton or LA or somewhere that could be the furthest place from home that you have.
I'll tell you, I loved DeBrusk. I loved him. He was the greatest guy. He was a really nice guy. He played Fortnite with my kid. It was good.
He was a hell of a gamer.
I know.
Like, my kid was the coolest guy in the world. He was, hey, I got his whatever.
I got his gamer tag.
Yeah.
That's right.
So they played together. So I loved DeBrusk. I'm not going to say anything bad about DeBrusk.
No, we both did. I loved him too.
Yeah, except he got ripped off in Edmonton. He's not a shrewd businessman. Not in the NHL. His house. You know about that. He got screwed over.
He's got a beautiful house. I've only seen the pictures.
It's his second try though, because his first time he was defrauded or something.
We used to have him on every week, and he told us this story on the air. He got robbed.
Yeah. I've seen the pictures of his home. I know he has a beautiful house in Edmonton. I didn't know he got freaking.
You know how much
second time out? Yeah.
You know how much that house cost? $10,000. All right. It's Alberta. All right, Charlie McAvoy, it's always a pleasure,
and
congratulations on everything, and have a great season, and maybe we'll talk to you.